before the match actually kicked off, the coach talking about needing to be a little bit more aggressive and scoring those important goals, and they did just that.
And the good thing is that they followed this game plan, because it's one thing to plan, but then the players, when they get on the field, then they don't follow. Because the players are a system on their own. When you are a coach sitting outside, you can't step in and instruct each and every player what to do. But they just worked automatically and in sync. Because you saw that from the fact that the likes of Ribeiro were not able to play a ball through. Every time he tried to play a ball through, there was someone cutting it. All passing lanes were closed, well organized. The energy levels that they have, was Piwe, Velase in the midfield, Sibelebili, and Sibande, very energetic players. And this is a very, very big win for them, because they beat Sundowns when they are at their best. And it was a big test, and they aced it, and not just aced it, but they did that convincingly.
I think overall, game plan well executed with TS Galaxy. They knew that they're not going to dominate possession. They're up against a team that will dominate possession, but they also knew that to be organized and be alert at all times of the danger that Sundowns can pose to them. But they also knew their strength, that at any given point, if Sundowns mind Alasa, we are going to punish them. And that's exactly what happened, because when Sundowns Ilasa, they started punishing them. I mean, if you look at how they're rotating the ball, they believe in themselves to say, we can't get it right. And that's why I'm saying, through the eye of a needle. The expectations would have been to play across. But you don't play across, you put it in that space, because there's expectation from the keeper to say you're going to close. He narrows the angle. But that's the best in Africa. Beating. And for me, that's quick thinking. When you do that, that's believing yourself, because they scored the most important goal, and they knew after that we need to start defending.
Most certainly. And when they start doing more and more over and over again the right things that make them win, then that is dominance. And I have a feeling, I feel that today they did more right things than the opposition, because the opposition were not bad on the ball. They were not bad on the ball. So when it's that case, then you give the credit to the other team, because sometimes you know that when you give them an opportunity, because they are so good on the ball, they'll just break you apart, and they'll be able to find a way through to penetrate. But they were not reckless on the ball, they were not terrible on the ball, but they were not able to break through. So what Brian is saying, that you give credit to the organization defensively from TS Galaxy.
You have to give that. They needed to defend, and that is crucial for them to be able to do that. And this is when you start suffering as a team, because you've got to defend as a unit. It's critical. Sometimes you need the last line of defense to be able to bail you out in those kind of situations. It's not the best football that they had to play against Sundowns, but they had to play smart football. When you're leading, you need to be able to know how to defend your lead, and that's exactly what they had to do. They're playing at home. The team they have to dominate. You would have expected them to dominate possession. It's not the case. They knew they were up against a team that enjoys getting hold of that ball. But they knew that when they scored, they needed to defend their lead. And those are the two things which, for me, they did them quite well.
Yeah, and in the build-up as well, in the lead-up to them, of course, getting that all-important goal. I mean, we looked at the numbers in the first half, at the break. We looked at the numbers. They were leading in stats in terms of the opportunities created, goals as well up front. So you're getting that balance where, yes, you're being good in back in terms of the defense, not making it easy for the opposition, but then of course you're making sure that you are scoring as well. Mamelodi Sundowns catching up in the second half.
Well, they needed to respond. You can tell from the changes that Sundowns had to make, they needed to respond. They wanted to play with some intensity, and they tried to do all of that. But then we're up against a team who were mentally, they were quite prepared to suffer as a unit, because they knew they're not going to enjoy the major share of the ball. So they had to suffer. But also in the process of suffering, you've got to play smart. You've got to be very organized in terms of their approach. And they did that quite well.
Yeah, most certainly. And you give credit to the two centre backs. These are two young players. Kabini now being moved from the left, playing at a centre back, excelling. And Damane also on the other side, very calm. Any ball that Sundowns tried, even in the air, trying to play into the area, they read that very well and intercepted and went to win the headers. They were switched on from the first minute to the last minute. As I said earlier on, they could read a pass coming through the middle, because you know when you have a number 6 like Mkwena who will feed through Ribeiro there, they kept Shalulile quiet, who has scored 8 goals in the 8 encounters that these two teams have played. He's only ever not scored in one game where Sundowns lost. So you keep that person quiet. And also on top of that, when they make the substitutions, change even the system, go with 2 up front, pile more pressure on you as the true centre backs, but you dealt with that.
But in fact, they didn't actually change the entire system, because if you look at the system, they always had 4 at the back, but they had 2 defensive midfielders. So they offered them options. When they attacked, they could add the 2 into the attack. When they defended, they could add the 2 into defense. So that, for me, it's tactical masterpiece in terms of the approach.
Oh man, what an encounter. We expected a really exciting one here at the Mbombela Stadium. I think for the home side Test Galaxy, it could be a season-defining victory this tonight. And for Mamelodi Sundowns, they are still top, and they're saying, oh, we revert back to factory settings. We keep doing what we're doing well, and we bounce back in our next encounter. Well, the focus switches this weekend to the Nedbank Cup. A reminder of the encounters that you can look forward to. Of course, they will be live and in high definition right here on your World of Champions. SuperSport United coming up against Cape Town City, Stellenbosch, Polokwane City, as well as Durban City and TS Galaxy.
Yeah, look out for that encounter between Durban City and TS Galaxy, because TS Galaxy, the first in the Motsepe League, in the first division, and now coming up against a team that has just won in a big game against Mamelodi Sundowns. But obviously, there's many exciting games that to look forward to in the next couple of days.
Yeah, you take a look at the rest of the fixtures: Marumo Gallants, Amazulu, Orlando Pirates, and Baroka Football Club, Kaizer Chiefs, Chifa United, as well as Sundowns coming up against Mpendi Home Defenders.
Did we say Marumo Gallants? You know Dan Malisela, right?
Hey.
You know Dan Malisela has won this. But you're then talking about Orlando Pirates. You know this venue, they've won it. It's this particular venue, Orlando Pirates. So it's exciting features that we have. It's a buffet of entertainment over the weekend. Please join us.
Please join us. What a tasty buffet. As Brian rightfully said, looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us this evening.